Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of On Point EDC. Today we're looking at a really cool little gentleman's knife from Boker Plus. A little bit about Boker Plus. They were founded in 1869, which would be Boker Knives, the parent company. They are German in origin. The Boker Plus line is manufactured in either Taiwan or China, depending on the particular model. Their market segment covers kind of entry-level to mid-range pieces, but they do keep relatively current with their kind of specs and their technology that they use. So they're generally a really nice value proposition. So this type of knife, I would class it as a gentleman's folding knife, and as far as some key characteristics and design language of a gentleman's folder is, you're looking for something sleek, kind of understated in design, and you want some kind of, kind of quote unquote classy handle scales. So this particular knife is probably longer than you would consider for your classic gentleman's knife, but I think it definitely fits the kind of modern gentleman's folder category a little bit better. So this is the Urban Trapper with the Cocobolo side scales there. But before we do that, let's go ahead and zoom out and get a quick wristwatch check. So as you can see, I have on the Watches by Nick Orion prototype on today. Really nice piece. Kind of, I felt, suited the gentleman aesthetic of the Boker Plus here. I've actually, if you've checked out my Instagram, I've paired this kind of with this watch in a couple of shots as well. So, before we move on, actually I just realized that in my review for this watch, I didn't do a lume shot, so why not do one here? So go ahead and hit the lights. So as you can see, this is not a dive watch, so it's not really meant to have a ton of lume, but the lume that it does have is really high quality and really nicely executed. So good on you, Nick Harris, Watches by Nick. So guys, keep an eye out for this piece. Definitely take a look through my channel history and make sure you watch the full review. So back to the Urban Trapper. So essentially, this very svelte, slim little number is just a modern gentleman's folder, and it is a flipper as well, which is nice and something that's definitely kind of modern and in trend. It has a titanium frame, and some people kind of consider them liners, but I mean, honestly, this is pretty much a frame lock with just some these, instead of them being inset, they're just kind of screwed on top. I mean, you could take these off and you could actually just use the knife, on its own without these inserts here. You can't really do that with, regular like steel liners or even titanium liners on other knives, because they're just not meant to be an actual handle. As you can see here, I mean, the liners actually go out past those Cocobolo inserts. So it's just kind of interesting. Some people will, say that these are liners. I mean, really, it's just a titanium frame with some wood kind of tacked to the outside, which I think looks good. It's one of the more handsome knives that are out there. I mean, look at this guy. This thing is crying out for some Instagram love right now. And it even has a deep carry pocket clip, which isn't in some weird, horrible shape. So pretty nice. So basically, the retail price for this knife is $109, but the street price is around 65 bucks. So extremely nice value proposition here, considering what you're getting, right? You're getting a VG10, which is Japanese, high-end steel, stainless steel blade, which is really nice, in a classic clip point shape. The handles have the Cocobolo wood scales on them. The dimensions are, especially since it's so slim, it's gonna seem a little bit longer, but it's under 8 inches in total. It's actually 7.67 overall length, with a blade length of just shy of 3.5 at 3.42 inches. Closed length is going to be 4.25, and then the weight is extremely light, coming in at below 2 ounces. It's only 1.95 ounces, which is amazing. So that's really cool. And you know, it's light in the hand and it's light in the pocket, which is really cool. And it just has these really nice, you know, kind of classic look. It doesn't offend. It's just a handsome, you know, piece, which I really can appreciate. So in hand, you know, it's very slim ergonomics, you know, obviously, but it's very comfortable because it does have kind of a rounded shape to it, you know, with these inserts. So of course it's like holding a stick basically, but it's a comfortable stick and there's plenty of room for your hand there. I mean, there's no jimping. It would be nice if there was some, but it does have a rounded spine, which is really nice, and you definitely don't find in knives that are a lot more expensive than this one. So really cool. And it is very sharp out of box. So the cool thing about this is in pocket, it does sit very low because of that low riding pocket clip. It does have a very slim profile, which means it's that smaller footprint. But because it is a deep carry, this is going to be sitting a lot lower in the pocket. So when your hand comes by and it's navigating past this point right here, and I think it's more so the wood, it can kind of grab a little bit and feel sharp. I mean, it's not actually sharp, but I mean, just when your hand has to navigate past it, basically, it can feel uncomfortable. So just to give you kind of an idea there, because that shape, you know, there's a lot of other knives, like let's say, you know, from Spyderco, the Delica, once that's in there, it's not gonna rub as hard, right? Or, you know, it's because there's not that low, right? It doesn't ride that low. It's going to be a little bit more out of the pocket. So even though that's straight there, basically when your hand is moving past it, it's going to be higher up already. So your hand's going to come in like this, right? So the pocket isn't going to be pushing it against it because it's so low. So just something to keep in mind. The action is very smooth and quick. You know, it doesn't have super hard detent or anything, but because of these IKBS bearings in the pivot system, it's just really smooth. I mean, smooth to close, smooth to open. Some of the model variants, you know, there's different scale materials. They have a G10 model, a carbon fiber, you know, there's a slim scaleless model, which is basically kind of the skeletonized handle. You know, kind of how I was saying that these aren't really liners. It's almost just like a frame lock that just happens to have some liners. Not liners, but scales kind of just tacked on top. So, you know, some comparable options, you know, as far as the profile goes, maybe it might be something like a Benchmade 940, you know, which is going to be more utilitarian and aesthetic, and it's going to be a lot more expensive, but it's going to be using a better steel. You know, it's going to have that S30V, it's going to have that quick axis lock, which is nice. There's also the Delica, of course, which I had out earlier. I'd say probably something more comparable would be the stainless steel, the scaled model. So the handle would be all steel. I think that'd probably fit the more gentleman aesthetic a little bit more, but just to kind of give you an idea, that's also an option that's out there. You know, I guess another one that you could consider almost a gentleman's knife would be an ZTO 450. This one's been modified. Of course, you know, milled pocket clip, blued titanium standoffs, and the nice carbon fiber side scale. But when you look at the profile here, you know, it's kind of being that slim. Of course, you know, this is the you know, Sinkovich design on the zero tolerance is going to look, you know, a little bit kind of more tactical and a little bit more, you know, just details as far as, you know, it's a little bit sexier, while this is just a little bit more of a kind of handsome, sedate look here on the Boker Plus, you know, the Urban Trapper. So it's really nice in hand, but you know, size wise they're very similar, and you know, this is not a heavy knife either, so you know, especially after you add that carbon fiber side scale. So it's something to think about. As far as maybe something else that I would consider a gentleman's knife, would be this Lion Steel TRE. And I think of this more as a gentleman's knife because it's shorter. You know, it fits more of the traditional gentleman's, especially if you take off the flipper tab, because it is a TRE 3 rapid exchange, so you can take that off. And then there's also a thumb stud, but you could have nothing there and then use it as kind of old school opening, right? Which would fit more of the gentleman's folder aesthetic, you know, as far as classically going. But you know, this could just be like a super modern gentleman's knife, you know, I'd consider. So, but back to the Boker Plus Urban Trapper here. Very nice piece. I gotta say, I've really enjoyed carrying it. It's really light and it just fits so many different occasions, you know. This is something you can wear with slacks, you know, keep with you. It's sharp enough to do any of kind of those everyday duties that you might need a knife for, you know, whether it's opening a box or opening, you know, your mail or, you know, some letters or something like that. Obviously, this isn't something you're going to go out to the woods with and kind of do any bushcraft with. But it's something that is, you know, it's extremely sharp and it carries really well. And it's just, you can't knock too much of it, right? Because you think about that price, $65. I mean, that's pretty incredible, especially with this VG10 steel, which, you know, a couple years ago, this was kind of the in steel, right? Before S30V and S35 really started kind of taking over as the blade steel choice of knife makers, and now kind of M390s, the new it metal. But you know, VG10 is no slouch. It's a really cool blade steel, and it's really nice on this piece, and it's just a handsome, very, very handsome piece. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is it too long to be a gentleman's folder? Too modern? Is the flipping action too weak? Nah, you know, I think it's just fine. I mean, even though that's that tiny tab, it's not like I can, let me try to push button it. Yeah, your finger kind of gets in the way. The blade will hit, but you can light switch it nicely. You do have to try a little bit harder because it is such a small flipper tab there, so you know, you can misfire it. But for the most part, you know, it's a nice piece, and while it's not the most satisfying lockup, it does the job. You know, sound wise, it doesn't give you that nice snap that you might be used to, but it's a good piece. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you liked the video, also hit like, guys. Thanks.